Wait.
Wait, isn't there the red light?
No, but I looked at the cable and I didn't see it. Welcome to the Camcast. My name is Howard Cam, and today we have a special guest, Mark Koinui, friend, colleague, overall nice guy, head of the Roosevelt's Esports team. And before you're all jumping on your computer right now saying, why aren't they wearing their mask? Let me tell you something. One, there's nobody in here, just us. Two, we're both vaccinated. So stop it. Stop typing right now. Okay. Mark, let's talk about esports, man. I want to talk about this phenomenon of esports, and I see it. I see like big ticket, big dollars, and then I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but when I see the athletes come out, they don't look like athletes to me, man. I'm really having a problem like understanding esports. I'm having a problem understanding, because when I think about sports, because I'm an old man, right? So I think about sports, and I think about teams, I think about competitors, I think about physicality, I think about, head-to-head competition. Why esports? Why?
Well, I think you mentioned the key points of the fact that sports include teamwork, they include communication, they include competition. And if you think about it, every athlete that you see playing a sport, they all look different. It's just that their body types are built for a specific sport that they play, right? Football players, they want to bulk up. Soccer players are a little bit more, what is that word?
Physical, big legs.
Yeah, or they're a little bit more athletically built to run. Right. Well, when you look at esports players, they're athletically built for finger dexterity or, for quick reactions. The reaction time and everything is so consistent with both sports. The only thing that really differs, in my opinion, is one is playing video games and one is doing physical activity.
Yeah, so I love playing games. I love playing video games, but when I play games, I love story, I love depth. I think one of the problems I have playing video games is, and one of my students asked me, it's like, why don't you play multiplayer games? And I said, I don't like having somebody else yell and scream negative comments at me when I'm playing. I want to enjoy my game. And when I think about esports, I guess maybe I'm really thinking about the most toxic things because that makes the most headlines. But tell me, how do your players handle this? Like, how do you, as a coach, deal with the kind of people that are like do troll comments or really nasty online?
Well, I think it starts with you as yourself, right? So individually, because I play games online, I experience that. I experience it all the time. It happens. You can't control what people do. What you can do is control your reactions to it. Now, when it comes to our students who play esports, I got to make sure that they're not contributing to that problem. Because everyone we call them keyboard warriors, right? They're invisible. All they have is their keyboard and they just clack away and no consequences whatsoever. But because I'm their coach and I can see what they're doing right then and there, I see the chat logs. I can say, press Z, and then the chat logs come up. Okay, the enemy team is being toxic. Hey coach, just want to let you know that your player was being a little negative in the game and it's not promoting a good game environment. Or, I make sure that all of my students, good game at the end, well played. Everything is kept polite and civil because that's how we make the change. If we can promote good internet citizenship, let's say, with our students who will make the majority of internet usage is all high schoolers and teenagers, then we can hopefully make an impact with the rest of the world through majority. Right. So that's what I think would be a good contribution, not only to high schoolers and just being nice in general, but to the world. Like, let's change it.
And you got a good point. I mean, I understand, like, even in like if you're just watching people play basketball on the court, all right, I get it. So some people are real toxic when they play, right? Some people have real bad attitudes even on a non-professional level. I think it's pretty good then as a coach that you're monitoring this, and you can, so as the other team's coach too, they're like, you make sure all your players are on par. What can you say to parents though? What can you say to parents who like, I don't want my kids playing video games? I mean, they play video games all day, all night. What do you say to those parents that are really concerned about this?
I think like in everything that it comes, with diets, with exercise, with sleeping, with reading, who knows what you have issues controlling, right? It's moderation. And with esports specifically, the schools can play a big role with saying, hey, you're gonna keep your grades up. You're going to attend all your classes. We're going to hold you to athletic contracts. If we treat everyone as equal with these sports policies, then we are forcing the students who, oh, I'm getting bad grades because all I do is play video games at home. I'm playing video games because of esports though, so it's fine. No, it's not, because you're an athlete now, so you have to maintain the GPA. You have to maintain the conduct, the school conduct code. You have to be clean with all your actions, and we're going to hold you accountable to that.
So in the state of Hawaii, is esports considered a sport though?
It's not. Right now, it's just a club. So all the schools operate independently with clubs, and then we go through a third party that makes the leagues for us, and we compete through that league.
But I like what you said, that grade checks are important. Like, what about behavior checks? Behavior checks, same?
Yeah, definitely.
Athletics.
Everything should be exactly the same. If you're a football player and you get benched because of, you know, an incident at school because of behavior, same thing should apply to an esports person.
That's good then. So I guess parents, if you have concerns, like, tell your kid, you know, they gotta be on track, right? No, that's a real good concern, because parents are like, my kid's gonna play games, I think their grades are gonna go down. I think that is a legitimate concern for parents, right? And you've mentioned behavior, and I think that's pretty awesome too. What games do you play though? I mean, there's so many video games. What is the number one game that you guys play?
So Roosevelt plays League of Legends, and they've also played Rocket League in the past 2 seasons. This year with COVID, it kind of got a little funky, so we didn't offer Rocket League, but we did have our League of Legends team come back. They're performing pretty well right now. I play League of Legends myself and a bunch of, you know, regular other games that everyone just fools around with.
You brought up something really important. We talked about vaccinations and all that, but let's talk about COVID now. Like, this is a game to play then if you have COVID. I mean, no. You know what I mean.
If you have COVID, you better play games.
No, but if during this pandemic time, like, this is a sport that a lot of people can play then, because we can't do judo, we can't do wrestling, we can't do more contact sports. So then this is actually a sport that keeps kids involved then.
Yeah, and I feel for all these athletes, because I was an athlete in high school. You know, I played wrestling, I was in air riflery, so I'm used to going out and having to do physical things. I wrestled for 4 years, and without it, I probably would have ended up in a bad spot, because physical release is always good, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that. Luckily, I had a good support system at home to get me through the home isolation. But if you're a teenager and you have all of these issues that you need to get out, and I'm not saying that you need to get these issues out through playing video games, because then we get into the whole cyberbullying, keyboard warrior stuff, but it definitely provides a release. And not only that too, but if I'm at home and you're at home and we play the same games and I'm feeling kind of bored, hey Howard, you want to play some League? Sure, we play a couple games, I get to talk to you, we laugh, we make jokes at each other on how terrible we did, and then we elevate our emotions a little bit. You know, we get through the tough times, rather than sitting at home scrolling on my phone, looking at all of everyone doing the exact same thing that I am currently doing. Yeah. You know?
I understand that. By the way, I really gotta talk about this. Let's stop on that question for a second. Where does the money come from on these big events? I'm just really curious, like the these esports, events? These pro tournaments.
I have no idea.
How do they get these multi-million-dollar prizes? I gotta admit, that's like a big prize, right?
It's huge. When Dota first released the $1 million prize, the game is actually called Dota.
Okay.
But it's like the original League of Legends. Okay. So the multi-online player battle arena, I think, is the genre.
Okay.
So Dota first was the big esports game, and then they created this tournament. I forget, maybe like early 2000s, sometime around there. But their first place prize was $1 million, and that was like the first one. And everyone's like, "Whoa,
that is a significant amount of money."
Can you imagine? There's 5 people on the team. You split $1 million 5 ways.
Yeah. For
playing a video game and being the best at the video game.
You know what this does too? This gives a lot of kids who are not. Oh God, I'm gonna get more flack for this. Kids that are not that physical, an opportunity to play sports and compete at a high level.
Yeah.
Damn.
It allows them to feel like, I just asked my kids yesterday, hey, answer these questions for me, because I want you to give me some feedback so I can see how esports is impacting your lives. And one of them said, well, it allowed me to experience what it feels like to win or lose.
And be part of a team.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, wait, what do you mean win or lose? And I had to think for a second, because I'm an athlete, winning and losing is something I grew up with. Yeah. Maybe they didn't get to experience going onto the court, going onto the mat, and it like training so hard that when you lose, all you can do is cry.
Wow.
So that's really impactful, because there's so many students that aren't fitting in the stereotypical athlete stereotype, right? That you have to be in. And esports allows anyone. Microsoft has started to generate stuff for students with special needs where they can control using breath. Like, what? You can use a controller using your breath with your eye movements?
I saw those adaptive controllers.
Yes, and that's how more inclusive can you get?
That's a good point. We think about athletics as you must be this body type, you must have this physicality to play, but in reality, with esports, you really can play. Wow, it really is the most inclusive. The hell?
Yeah, and we don't have to say like, just because you're playing video games, you're not athletic, you're not getting, why not make them do exercise? You're the coach, you have the power. Hey, we're starting every day, we're going to run a mile. Doesn't need to be super severe
Gets
because
your brains and blood pumping.
Yeah, and it's all proven that physical stimulation increases your mental capacity to react. There's so many benefits with it. Just make them work out. There's no issue with that. Because you're the coach, that's your team. You create the regimen, they implement the regimen, and if they don't like it, they don't join the team.
I gotta be honest, like when you first brought me this idea of esports, I really had like a lot of negatives, and I really wasn't behind it. I think now I can be a little more supportive of it. Like, no, you bring up some good points. We talk about inclusion, we talk about grade checks, we talk about attitude and behavior. Folks, I'm not trying to like sell this out here, but I'm just saying like, it's not bad. For me, I don't think I would play these games, but I'm a different player. I prefer different sports. I prefer different games. But I think if you're like someone that is interested, then maybe this is something you ought to try. Like, why not? Well, what could go wrong? Tell your parents you want to try some games, and then if your parents say, "Yeah, what about your grades?" Then just tell them, "Well, grade check."
Yeah, or have them call me, and I'll explain to them what we're doing.
Call Coach Mark. Call Coach Mark. Mark, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Folks, if you've enjoyed this show, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave comments below. We'll be happy to answer them. If you write any comments that are negative, I'm going to send Mark to come to your house now.
I'll teach you some digital citizenship.
Digital citizenship, folks. Be good people. All right. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Mark, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you very much for that.
I hope I was okay.
No, that was good.
This is the first time I'm